Whenever a game features a character based on a real historical figure, changes are inevitable. Whether it's to fit the narrative, enhance the gameplay, or simply make the character more appealing to modern audiences, alterations happen. Sometimes, the real person gets nerfed. Other times, they're buffed to something almost unrecognizable. Hi, this is Nariganin from the Lore Glitch, where we compare legends with reality and sort out what's real, what's fake, and what just sounds cool in the boss fight. From warriors and warlords to emperors, queens, myths, we are debugging the past, one legend at a time. Hit that like and subscribe button if you love lore, history, and a little bit of chaos. For the debut of the channel, we will be talking about Yasuke, the man of controversy. Which part of his history is real? And which part is more likely glitched into something else? Let's glitch it. Yasuke himself was a real person, a man of African origin, possibly from Mozambique, Ethiopia, or Sudan. He arrived in Japan in the 1570s as part of an entourage led by Jesuit missionaries. When he reached Kyoto, people were stunned. He had gigantic build, and his skin tone was much darker than anything the local had seen. After all, most foreigners at the time, including the other Asians or Europeans, had much lighter complexion. Some even believe Yasuke's skin was painted black, and then entered Oda Nobunaga, the warlord trying to unify Japan at the time. Fascinated by Yasuke, Nobunaga had him washed, thinking the color might be ink. When it didn't come out, he was even more impressed, and then he took him under his wing. In recent years, Yasuke has become something else. He's been portrayed as full-fledged samurai, a warrior with unmatched strength, and even the center of supernatural anime and video game narratives. But how much of that is real? How much is just lore glitching into legend? This is where the story gets complicated. Modern media often presents Yasuke as a full-fledged samurai, a title tied to honor, prestige, and rigid social hierarchy. But in the 16th century of Japan, samurai wasn't just about wielding a sword. It was a formal status, usually inherited and deeply rooted in Japanese lineage. For a foreigner, especially one who was formerly enslaved, to officially receive that rank? Nearly unthinkable. What we do know though, Yasuke was present during one of the most pivotal events in Japanese history, the Honnoji incident in 1582. When Akachi Mitsuhide betrayed Nobunaga, Yasuke fought by his lord's side. Nobunaga died at the temple, but Yasuke survived. He later joined Nobunaga's son, Nobutada, at Nioh Castle, but they too were defeated. Yasuke surrendered and was spared. Some records say he was handed back to the Jesuits, likely because he wasn't seen as a political threat. That battle was Yasuke's one confirmed moment in Japanese warfare, and it ended not in triumph, but in retreat. Some argue that this alone made him samurai in spirit. Others believe he was more of a bodyguard, an honored servant, or perhaps a foreign curiosity, elevated by Nobunaga's fascination. Maybe he was brought to entertain, and ended up fighting because he had no choice. The truth is, we don't know. Records are sparse, and much of Yasuke's story comes from fragmented texts or filtered through foreign eyes. And in that gap between fact and fictions, legends are born. Over the years, Yasuke has been reborn, not in textbooks, but in games, anime, and pop culture. And each version stretches the truth just a bit further. In Nioh, Yasuke is a boss, armored, massive, wielding otherworldly strength. In Afro Samurai, he is more of a spiritual successor, a lone swordsman in a mythologized Japan. In Samurai Warriors 5, Yasuke is a fully playable character. He's a brawler, charging into battle with devastating punches and raw physicality instead of traditional samurai weapons like a sword or even a spear. He served under Nobunaga, loyal and powerful, not exactly as a samurai, but portrayed as a straightforward warrior, with little nod to his real-life ambiguity. And most recently, in Assassin's Creed Shadow, Yasuke becomes a protagonist, a black samurai, deeply involved in political strife. The trailer alone sparked a heated debate. Can a game take a historical figure with unclear status and make him a full-on hero and still call it history? To be fair, Assassin's Creed thrives on historical fiction. But for many, this portrayal didn't feel like creative license, it felt like rewriting history itself. The truth, Yasuke was a man caught between worlds, a foreigner in feudal Japan, a warrior who stood beside one of its greatest lords. He's remembered not because of what we know, but because of what we don't. That is why he's become canvas for imagination. Games give him armor, stories give him purpose, but the real Yasuke, he's still a mystery. Not quite a samurai, not quite a servant. A walking question mark in Japan's most turbulent age. And maybe that's what makes him legendary. History remembers Yasuke in fragments, a name in a diary, figure in a fight, a man who stood out in every crowd. But fiction remembers him in a full color. Maybe it's not about whether he was the samurai. Maybe it's about why we want him to be. Because in every retelling, every redesign, every game, we don't just see a man. We see a symbol, a story, a legend shaped by the cracks in the record. This is where the facts ends and fiction begins to glitch. You've been watching Lore Glitch. If you enjoyed unraveling this legend, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and tell us who should we decode next. See you again.